Hey, 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 let's get rich now. Let's get rich now and let's get successful in every area of our life and let's rebrand ourselves. Yes, I am still doing the series on guardianship and conservatorships. I don't know if you can see this, but this is guardianship, conservatorship, probate, conservatorships, all of this. So right now I'm going to talk about guardian ad litem. Baby, let's talk about it. If you can afford, if you can not get a guardian ad litem, don't do it. Okay, so here's the situation with me and my family. There's a guardian ad litem. My niece has a guardian ad litem. He's been a guardian ad litem for probably over 15 years. They're supposed to be temporary. They're supposed to be the eyes and ears of the court. But this guardian ad litem, he does not come to the house to talk to my niece. Out of the 15 years, he probably came to the house once or twice, per my request. And he's supposed to be for the best interest of the client, but the best interest that he serves is for the bank, not you, and for himself. And with these guardian ad litems and these attorneys, they do all this cricket stuff, and then they have kids that become attorneys and they take their place. It's ridiculous. But there are some cricket guardian ad litems in the world. I'm going to tell you about one story of this guardian ad litem, because I sit in the courtroom and I hear a lot of stuff. Here's what this one guardian ad litem, she was a female. The lady husband died, and I guess he left her his estate. And it was only a few weeks since he died, and she was grieving her husband's death, just staying in the house, staying in the house. And the female guardian ad litem came to court along with the bank's attorney and said, look, this lady, we went over to her house and her snow in her driveway was not shoveled. And if someone came to her door, they could slip and fall. Mind you, let me tell you, the lady, because they had to explain it all, the lady had a company that comes out to shovel the snow, and they just haven't gotten to her house yet that day that the case manager showed up. And if you know anything about companies that shovel snow, they take care of the companies first, then the household. So if they have all these clients, they go early in the morning and take care of all the companies first, and then they come to the households and shovel the snow. So she told the judge her snow was not shoveled, and she didn't have pictures on the wall. It has to be something wrong with her. Who doesn't have pictures on the wall? So I suggest that her house be sold. She either be put in a nursing home, or we sell her house and put her in a condo, something small, but preferably a nursing home. And the judge approved it. Now the company that comes and shovels the snow is a company that the case manager picked and hired and is paying through the lady's estate. So she could have called them and said, don't come this day, and just came. And came on the day that she told them not to come. It was a snowy day. And to put someone in a nursing home because they don't have pictures on the wall, that's ridiculous. Because I don't like a lot of pictures on my wall. I don't even have pictures on the wall. Like, I went and got some, after I heard this, I went and got some designs or something, some little stuff to put on the walls. But for somebody to make a decision about your life simply because you don't have pictures on your wall, and the judge approved it, the same judge that used to be a guardian ad litem on the bank's payroll, and said whatever this bank wants, they get. Come on now. So this lady has to lose her freedom, because going into a nursing home, to me, for some people, it can be just like jail. You got these floors that you go on that smells nothing but urine. And then some people that they put in nursing homes, like it might be somebody that has a virus or that's very sick, and they go to nursing homes to rehabilitate before they allow them to go back to their own home. Because I had a cousin that had cancer. She had bone cancer or something, and she had to go into a nursing home so they could rehabilitate her before she can come home. And just like my father, he had an aneurysm, and they put the case manager, he was only in his 50s, threw him in a nursing home until he got rehabilitated. And then once he got rehabilitated, she sent them back home. He was able to come back home, but that was not her intentions for him to come back home. But because he had got better, she had to bring him back home. He had to come back home. But within that same week, she called a family member and said, "We taking away my niece from him," because she didn't think that he should be taking care of her. And once he heard that, he immediately had another aneurysm and died. So, but to get back to guardian ad litems. The guardian ad litem, the bank chose a guardian ad litem and said, we're going to put a guardian ad litem over, this case or whatever, because the bank was actually doing guardian of the person duties. And once they put a guardian ad litem on, then they stopped being a guardian of the co-guardian of the person, which banks should only take care of money matters, and they was actually co-guardian of the person and estate. Not supposed to be. So they got a guardian ad litem. They paid this guardian ad litem a lot of money. The guardian ad litem, they started out with maybe $275 an hour. And then within a 6 months time, his fees kept going up and up and up within 6 months, like about 5 or 6 times. His fees kept going up. And I was only able to get his fees down maybe 10 years later, after going through many judges, and the judge said, okay, we're going to put a cap on it. But then he still kept bringing it back up after they threw that judge out off the case, because that judge, they couldn't get every win with her. So they had to take her off and have the judge that used to be a guardian ad litem, and he's judging over people that was guardian ad litems with him. My thing is this: if you have a chief judge who there is a lot of corruption going on in the, there's a lot of corruption going on for year after year after year, and that chief judge says, whatever my lawyers do, they do. I'm not going to babysit them. They can do whatever they want to do. Should that person still be chief judge? It's like judges and guardian ad litems is not just taking a position of supposed to be serve and protect, but they're taking on a position of God's. You say, how so? I'll tell you how so. Guardian ad litems are not responsible for the crookedness that they do. So let me say this. You're an attorney, okay? You're an attorney. If you do something corrupt, your license will be at risk. But there's a law in Cook County that says if a guardian ad litem does something, you cannot bring up a complaint against the guardian ad litem. So this attorney here spent X amount, let's say it's 10 years. This attorney here spent 10 years getting his license, and if he do something wrong, he can get his license taken away. This attorney did the same thing as this attorney and got his license, did 10 years. But he can do something wrong and not get in trouble for it. Why would a person not be able to get in trouble for what they do if they do something wrong and corrupt? Follow the money. Follow the money. I don't feel that attorneys should not get in trouble for the things that they do. You should be able to complain about anyone who holds a license. So if a guardian ad litem holds a license, he should be able to be a complaint against him just like any other complaint. Have I written a lot of complaints concerning the guardian ad litem? Yes. And they did nothing about it, just said, go tell the judge. Follow the money. Follow the money. When you're in a guardianship, one thing you have to remember, not just, one is to follow the money, and two is to keep a paper trail. Everything that's said, everything that's done, keep a paper trail. Because one day, a light is going to come on, and then you're going to see all the crookedness that is being done. So, I say this to you. If you have a senior or a disabled person or taking care of a loved one that may be within the probate system, the guardianship, or the conservatorship, go through the paperwork. Don't throw away papers. Keep everything, court orders and everything. After you go to court, get a copy of the court records. If the judge said some stuff that was illegal, put a complaint against the court reporter. I made a complaint against the court reporter, and this is crazy. The court reporter was doing a lot of illegal stuff. The judge would say all this, the judge would say all this bad stuff, and they would not put it in the record. So I said, okay, I'm going to contact the Illinois Department of, I think it was Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations at that time. So anyway, I put in a complaint concerning the court reporter. So the Illinois Department of Financial and Professional Regulations contacted me back and said, it couldn't have been this court reporter, because this court reporter is not supposed to be a court reporter, because we took her license a long time ago. But the judge was still using her, knowing her she didn't have a license. And when I called them and said, look, you guys, this person don't have a license, and why this, for the court reporter manager, they was like, oh, they don't work here anymore. That person, and they immediately, told the person you can't work here no more, because I found out, and I reported it. So, follow the paper trail if you have to do complaints, because if you have your family member is being mistreated and you don't make a complaint about it, then nothing is being done, because the person that do make a complaint, they're thinking, oh, that's crazy, this just happened to this person. But if you have hundreds and thousands of people making a complaint on the same individual, somebody has to say, hey, something is not right. So, but guardian ad litems, they are the gods of the court system, because they don't have to pay the price for anything that they do. I think that guardian ad litems should have to pay the price for what they do, and you should be able to make a complaint against them. And I think judges should be able to you should be able to make a complaint against them. It should go to some type of organization that that you can make a complaint to, and that after you get so many complaints, that an investigation is made. Because the guardian ad litem and the judges should not be able to be gods. They should not play the role as gods. And when it comes to the chief judge, how would you have a chief judge that served 10 and 15 and 20 years, and the system is constantly going down, crumbling down? Obviously, there's something's not right. I think chief judges should be just like presidents. They have more power. Chief judges have more power than the president of the United States. You heard me right. Chief judges have more power than the president of the United States. And you might say, how so? Because the president of the United States can only serve 2 terms. But a chief judge can serve as many terms as he wants to. They should have a limit on how many terms that you can that you can have. Like, it was this one attorney, and he was a powerful attorney, and he went for a judge position, but I guess maybe he wasn't a crooked judge. So he ended up getting the position over the person that they wanted. He got the position to be a judge. So what did the chief judge do? Because this man was powerful, a powerful attorney. He made lots of money, over cases. He put that judge over traffic. That was a slap in the face to him, because he said, I could make more money being an attorney than being a judge over traffic. And he wasn't an old man either. So he stepped down. He was like, I'm not going to be a judge over traffic. That's like a slap in the face. That's disrespect for you to put me over traffic. And you might say, oh, you're the chief judge. He can put anybody anywhere he wants to. But you couldn't utilize that man better, but you was able to take a guardian ad litem who was being paid by the bank and put them over guardianships, a judge over guardianships. He is the one that probably should have been put over traffic, because he was being paid by the very banks that he's now judging people's lives. But again, if you can avoid getting a guardian ad litem, please, by all means, you don't want a guardian ad litem, because the guardian ad litem, I'm not saying all guardian ad litems are bad people. Have I ever met any good ones? No. There are some times that I was in the courtroom and I would just sit in there and listen to the cases and the things that I would hear. For an example, let me tell you about this other case. It was this lady that was taking care of her disabled son. And so they used up all the boy's money, all the mother's money. So the lady got married to a man that owned a successful company. So the guardian ad litem and the bank had the judge seize his money on his company and make him pay the guardian ad litem fees, which is $350, or it could be even $400, however amount they chose, but in their little meeting room, paying, let's say it was $350 an hour. So you had to pay the guardian ad litem fees, the bank attorney fees, and the bank fees, because the bank get fees for their attorney representing, and they get paid more than the guardian ad litem. And then the bank get fees for holding your account. Like my niece, the bank get paid over $100,000 a year just for her account. And then they end up, I really personally believe they thought of another company called this Team Risk Management. Oh, I shouldn't have said that. But anyway, they thought of this it's more people. In this company, they take probably about $60,000 a year just for issuing checks. So it's $68 per person just for issuing checks out to whoever is employed by the person's estate. So if you got, say, 3 family members, 5 family members, or that's on the payroll, or even people that's on the payroll, and they issuing out checks for those individuals, they're getting paid, say, $68 per person, or say 70 something. The fees keep going up, and after the first year, the fees just climbs. Do I think this company is legit? No, I don't think so, because when I looked up the company is owned by, the corporation is owned by a corporation, by a corporation, by a corporation, and you never get the name of a person. It's like, say it's like Team Risk Management. Team Rich Management is owned by, say I'm gonna make up a name, Team Management, that's owned by Management Team, that's owned by, and it's like corporation after corporation, so you cannot trail the person who's behind it all, which I really do think it's the bank. Found a way to get more money out of the, say they getting $120,000 a year out of your estate. Now they found out how to get $70,000, $80,000 more for a job that they was already doing all along, and now they got a company doing it, which I think this company is probably attached to the bank. Probably some company they don't made up. Because why would you have a corporation of a corporation of a corporation of a corporation while you're trying to find in the corporation of the corporation of the corporation, they're all in like faraway states. So it ain't like you can go down to, say, downtown or something and say, hey, I need the paperwork, I need to know this, I need to know that. So it's like hush hush. So the garden ad litem that my niece has, 5 raises in about 5 to 6 months. Just kept raising his salary. He don't even really communicate with my niece at all. Probably talk to her maybe about out of the whole 15 plus years, probably only talked to about 3 times. And one of them was probably, hey, how you doing? They are, the one that we have is not for the best interest of my niece. We had another judge, the judge that they took off the case to put the other crooked judge on. She took the guardian ad litem off the case and said, you are off the case of the person, and you're only on the case as the guardian ad litem of the estate funds until after the accounting is done. And they immediately put the other judge on that there's a conflict of interest because he used to be a guardian ad litem himself under the bank's payroll. He put the guardian ad litem back on and said, nope, I'm going to put him back on. And he's been on for year after year after year after year after year. And the guardian ad litem put his own case manager on, because after I was able to get the other case managers terminated, the guardian ad litem forced another case manager from a company that has been, a lot of complaints have been against that company, and used to be able to see it all over social media and in the news, little news channels or whatever, on the stuff that the company was doing and the investigations that was done, and now somebody done wiped it out of the system concerning this company. So you definitely, home health care companies, caregivers are the most worst thieves. They will steal everything. So you're constantly replacing all of your clothes and everything within your household and your money and all of that. Caregivers steal, and they steal like crazy, and they will do whatever anybody tells them to do. They would even, I would say, this is my own opinion, drug your loved one. This is what I feel. And the home health care company will do whatever. They will falsify information to get more money. So if you have a home health care company, as soon as you see them get a raise, you might want to find another home health care company. And if you do have an attorney that the estate is paying for, because they was paying for my attorneys, because they're supposed to pay for the attorneys of the guardian of the estate. And I am one of the guardians of the estate, even though Northern Trust took the power away from me, but I am still the guardian of the estate. And they're supposed to, as long as there's funds, to be able to afford to pay for my attorney. But the judge, who used to be a guardian ad litem, said, I'm not paying for your attorneys anymore. You have to pay for your own attorneys. So imagine having your own bills, paying your card note and paying this bill and that bill and that bill, and now you have to pay an attorney that's paying $350, charge you $350 an hour, and they don't even represent you in court because they just sit there and be quiet and then send you a bill. That's crazy. So Home health care companies will screw you. Caregivers will screw you. If you can get family members and the judge approve it to take care of your loved one, I would do it. Banks, that follow the money trail. Because a lot of the banks is trying to keep your money. And if you go to the judge and say, I don't want this bank anymore, I want another bank, they will not let you do it. And that stuff that's going on with Wendy Williams, where I think it was Wells Fargo, had the nerve to say, oh, I don't think she can take care of her own funds, so we're putting her in a guardianship, or we're suggesting that she be put in the guardianship. How? When in the world did a bank where you chose the bank and put your money can put you in a guardianship? And you got all these, they've been doing it to people, people with their hard-earned money, people who have worked their hardest to make a comfortable living for themselves once they retire, to end up getting taken out of their homes sold, everything they belong sold, to be put in the system and taken away from their family, drugged, so that they will have an early death and their family don't get a dime. A system that is made to make your life better, but you have predators within the system that causes all of this wrong. And you're saying, well, why are you, it's like you can't do anything, because if the people that's supposed to get them, supposed to discipline them, is the same people that's sitting in the management team at the banks, you're screwed. A system that could be a great system. There's people that scheme and scam and all of that. And you just have to keep changing the system. It's just like when people steal people's identities. And you just have to keep changing the rules and changing the rules, because people is continuously finding a way to get rich off of somebody else's hard labor. So, I haven't met a good guardian ad litem. Courts are supposed to be a public place. So if you're ever able to sit into a courtroom and just listen to the stuff that goes on, you'd be shocked. You would totally be shocked. And now they got, like here in Cook County, now they can do as much scamming if they want to, because everything is done on Zoom. We're going to do Zoom. So they can do as much criminal activity as they possibly can. Before, you could at least sit into the courtroom and hear the bad stuff that has been going on. Because I've heard so many cases that I'd be like, are they really getting away with this? They putting her in a nursing home because she don't have pictures on her wall. They won't let the lady's husband be her guardian, and this is her husband. And she asked them, can her husband be the guardian? They said, no, we're going to appoint a guardian ad litem. And he couldn't even get an attorney, because the wife was the breadwinner of the family. So he couldn't even afford an attorney. And they wouldn't listen to the wife, so they wouldn't pay for the husband's attorney through the wife's estate. Took this man's wife from him, took her and put her in a home. And she was, the only thing it looked like to me was she was just in a wheelchair. She looked like a woman who back in the days was a very successful woman. You can even tell in her older age. And she didn't look like she was that old. She looked like she was probably about 65, and she ended up in a wheelchair. People do have medical conditions that you can't see with the naked eye, but you can also have the proper people in place to give you the care that you need within your home. So you won't have to go to a facility, because people in a facility, a lot of them is just getting a paycheck, and they give a hoop about you. And the ones that do give care, care about you, they mind their own business. They do a good job. They mind their own business. When my daughter used to be in this other nursing home, people used to treat this lady wrong. She used to always be like, oh, I'll do it. I'll go help her. I'll go do this. I'll do that. Because the people, you know, when you have workers that don't like the person, they're going to mistreat your loved one. And shame on you kids who had good parents who cared for you. They nourished you. They put you in a good home, in good schools. They paid for your college education. They did all these good things for you. And the nerve of you to put your mother or your father in a nursing home. Shame on you. You could at least have the audacity to have a related living in your home and have staff there taking care of your loved ones. You can set up a related living, whereas you can lock the door where that staff cannot come into that portion of the home until you're there. I don't understand it. I mean, I understand people that had parents that used to abuse them sexually and physically and verbally, and they say, well, you know, like even with my parents, they my stepfather physically, verbally, and sexually abused all my mom's daughters, and she had 5 of them and 2 sons. And I can understand a situation like that. And my mother knew about it. She even seen them on some occasions. And but still, even with my mother, I take very good care of her and my daughter. I even put my daughter in a situation, the nerve of me to put that burden on my daughter. But even my daughter and I goes to her doctor's appointments with her. We make sure she have her meals, whatever she requests. We see about her health, her well-being. We constantly going over there, taking care of her and checking on her. And it's like, and when I say constantly going over there, meaning that, you know, I could be at work. I could be a lot of things I'm supposed to be doing with my job. I am suffering financially with my job, not because everything I'm doing with my mother, but because everything that I'm going through with this system here that's supposed to serve and protect, that makes it hard for me. So I have to constantly be, instead of being at work, I have to constantly be there taking care of my mom and my niece, because the amount of money that they pay me to help out with my niece, that's not enough to pay my bills, because I have a lot of bills. And a person should have to live below their means because they want to take it for the rest of their life, because my niece, she's only 30 years old, so she might just outlive us all. So I feel like if you have staff and you have a great team, you should be able to have more independence and be able to live your life and do things. But I am suffering financially because I'm constantly going over there. The home health care company that we have now, yes, they are providing caregivers for my niece, but the owners of the company